What's up, everybody? This is BakaBites. I'm Frankfurter. That is Magically Average, and joining us today is Sam the Manga Man. Say hello, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Okay, well, good enough.
Hi.
Today we are going to be talking about summer, and by summer I mean spring anime 2023. We are
It's
going
off
to
to a high,
my brain.
really
I
hot
know we're
start.
starting out rough.
I mean, the weather
We're
At
is
this
really hot,
point,
so it is summer.
yeah.
yeah. I just mowed the lawn in 111-degree, you know, heat, so I'm a little brain fried right now. So, but yeah, we are going to be talking about spring 2023 anime. We are giving our review, our consensus, our final thoughts on the season, even though some shows have one episode left, but a majority of them are coming to a close or are already closed. I've already said that. Anyways, let's start with you, Mr. Magically Average. How many shows did you get through this season?
Four.
That's more than I thought you would.
Four. I think four. Almost five.
Nice. There you go. Sam, how
Actually,
about you?
maybe it was five. I don't know. I'll count
You
in the
count, you
background.
count. Sam, you tell.
I had maybe like, completed or just like including starting and
I would say like completed to like nearly completed.
all right, then 12.
Oh Jesus Christ.
All right.
I
Well,
kept up to date so I don't have to binge anything and
Yeah, no kidding. I think I only got 6 under my belt for like completed slash was one episode off, and I got about halfway through two others. So Sam, since you watched so much this season, give us like a little taste. What was your favorite show that you watched this season?
favorite I'm going right away with number 1, or am I just going to like stand
You
out?
can either say your number one, your number, your first, your top couple, or whatever you want.
Sure. A couple that I went through that didn't really make my top list was like the stuff that you find in High Dive, the Otaku Elf, uh, Too Cute Crisis, just the sort of slice of life stuff that I just want to just turn on, don't have to put serious fights or anything like that. I just want to relax and chill and just vibe when it comes to watching and stuff like that.
Okay, very nice. I was actually very curious about how Otaku Elf was gonna be. Was it like, give us like a general consensus? Is it a good show to legitimately watch, or is it just turn your brain off fun?
It's a turn your brain off kind of thing. Like it's just a really big waifu, blonde, tall elf mommy.
keep it going.
Mm-hmm.
Just
She's
picturing it.
she's an otaku. She
Mm,
loves Gundam figures and collecting.
mm,
That's all night internet surfing, gaming,
okay.
Red Bull drinking.
Mm,
Okay,
Get the whole luxury life kind of thing with the whole otaku elf thing.
fair enough. All right, well, I legitimately like wanted to watch it, but I was just like, I am rarely on High Dive,
you made fun of
and
me when I bought all of the manga.
I did, but I did want to watch it.
You fucking hypocrite. Squirrely little bastard.
Yeah. Fair enough.
At least I
think
embrace the depravity. You just hitch onto the back and go for a joyride. And then when it's convenient for you, you jump off and go, that's bad. Boo you.
I mean, Inukai's dog was bad.
Well, even I admitted that was bad, but okay. It was a good experiment. And by good, I mean, I don't ever want to see something like that ever again. Ever.
Mm-hmm. And yet you chose to watch it. Anyways, I think for me, for like solid shows, because I guess since you didn't give us your top, we'll go with solid shows that didn't quite make the cut. Um, a little bit of a controversial pick for me, I think, is Hell's Paradise. I think that like overall the story is great, but I think what kept it back was a bit of the animation and the character art,
I can
because I mean, I
understand that.
said it on previous episodes, like the character designs were just like it felt wrong. It felt a little off compared to, what they are in the manga. Some of them, like, they had glimpses of like, yes, this is the character by far 100%, like, this is who I remembered them to be, and then like 20 seconds later they looked like dumbed down Luffy in a piece, like an episode of One Piece. Like, it just was wildly drastically different like in quality wise throughout the entirety of the series, and then same with the animation. It was kind of static, moving, action sequences. Some of them were great, and a good amount of them were kind of just, it's okay. Like
It
to
does
me,
sound like Studio Mappa though. Like that seems like Studio Mappa's forte kind of thing.
and I think especially coming off the fact that they had Chainsaw Man in the winter, and then they had the Attack on Titan movie, like right in the spring, and then I forget what the hell they did.
Vinland Saga season 2.
They did
currently.
Vinland Saga season 2, but they also did another show in the spring that I'm completely forgetting about. But like I feel like it's just they've had so much on their plate that
Blade of the Immortal?
maybe
No,
there was
you're
a
the cooking one. You're talking about the cooking one from Winter.
Yeah. Oh, I thought it was
Cooking
spring,
skills
but
in another world.
yeah. Okay, you're right.
Yeah, that was
but I feel
Mappa's
like
first isekai.
I feel like since
Oh,
they've
yeah.
taken on so much that it's just kind of let things like affect the quality of the next show, next season, whatnot. So I don't know. To me, it kind of just missed the mark because the animation and quality just kept just tanking and then going really great and then tanking again. It was all over the place and just wasn't cohesive. But the story wise, the story for Hell's Paradise was great. And I do enjoy the series overall. Like, I'm not saying that it's bad, like it's a bad series by any means. I still enjoyed it. It just missed the mark of being like that top tier show this season. So, yeah.
Hell's Paradise is one of those series that I have, I think, the entire manga for, but haven't read. So I'm going off of, I don't know, Sam, if you've read it either.
I have not read it. I've
Okay.
watched it. I know it's completed though.
Yeah. So I guess this is just for you then, Frank. Is the art style in the manga adapted in any way to the anime?
It is like I mean,
Okay, you can stop right there then. Because I'm sorry, I think that point is stupid then for the animation.
Really?
Yeah, because I watched it. I agree. There are some parts that are like a little bit sticky, but
I agree.
it just because it's Mappa or just because it's whatever studio, I would rather them adapt the stylistic choices of the manga to the anime than be like, well, we're a big studio. Let's just make it big and do our own style to it. Because like the whole time I was watching it, I was like, this has to be akin to like the manga style. Because this doesn't
I'm not
truly
saying
feel
the style. I'm saying the quality of like the character design because some of the character designs are different fundamentally. Like the not fundamentally,
like
but like
differently adapted or just different in animation.
I would say a little bit differently adapted, especially the tree guy. The tree guy, he seems a little bit off. Like he's the most off character that they've adapted.
Okay.
But I mean, I just think with the quality as well, just like how things are just kind of put out there and not as detailed as they should or could have been,
Yeah.
that it kind of just for me brought it down a bit.
That's fair.
Mhm. That's
'Cause
fair.
it's not the style that necessarily as it is the quality or like the quality of everything.
Because I mean, watching it again as someone that hasn't read it, and if you can't tell, this is one of my top 3 out of the 4 I've watched.
It's actually mine too.
I would agree in that there are scenes where not a lot's happening that you kind of look at it and you go, eh. But like the fight scenes were all really good. I thought the environment always looked really good. That's one thing that I tend to notice a lot in anime, is like background scenes and just the overall world sometimes looks a little muddy and gross. But then when they like emphasize or focus entirely on it, it's like it goes from like 240p to like 4K instantaneously. You're like, whoa! But like Hell's Paradise seemed like it was one where it was very consistent throughout, where they almost put a pretty strong emphasis on keeping the environments and the background scenery very high quality, so that way your eyes were drawn to it. And I think, again, my opinion of the story, having not read it either, just the watch the anime, is that was a big focal point. It's talked about throughout the anime too, that like this island is God's playground effectively. So they try to make it very fantastical and very magical and very otherworldly. And I think that piece was a big focal point for animating versus the scenes where they're just sitting around and talking or maybe walking or doing some mundane things. Fight scenes were all great. I thought the fight scenes were really well animated and very fluid. They didn't have like a good example of it would be like the black clover blocks being created in the air and shooting everywhere and like everything becomes cubes, which again, personally, I like. I'm like, whoa, that's intense. Let's fucking go. They were more focused on like the individual like combat sequences of things, and I thought that was really well thought out and choreographed in the animation. But yeah, I mean, to your point, does it look a little iffy at times? Yeah, but truthfully, I don't think that should derail or detract from the anime as a whole, because I thought like story-wise, the fluidity of it all, the overall like intensity and its ability to like keep that intensity rising throughout, especially after the first like 3 episodes where you're just like, Jesus Christ, can this get any crazier? And you're like, well, yeah, I guess you can, with giant fish people and effectively Attack on Titan-esque style creatures walking around. Like, that was really, really amazing. And I think we have 1 episode left, because I think there's 13.
Yeah.
And episode 12 just came out.
One more episode.
So, yeah, that's my 2 cents. Again, I know we talked about it before, and we talked about the idea that animation quality should not dictate anymore, because in all truthfulness, it's very good. There are the bad eggs. I'm looking at you, 3D CGI pieces of garbo out there. That
Not
truly,
all, but some.
That's true. Not all, but some.
Most.
Yes, most.
And then there's the popular over animation style that put so much money into, but the story is meh, and it's somehow popular too. So
Tons of
just
those
as a
too.
coin.
Yeah. Like it seems like animation is becoming less and less of the like top factor for grading, because it's just come sort of like expected nowadays versus
This
like
is also
story and all that.
This is also me having read the entire thing and like expecting the world from the series, because it is also MAPPA, and they gave us Chainsaw Man. Like, they gave us something absolutely incredibly looking. And then you're just kind of gonna just hop into another world that is as detailed, if not more so than that. And which I will say, the backgrounds and everything, like you were saying, incredibly detailed, and I do like that aspect of it. But then you're going to give us characters that just kind of look a little off at like times. I know it's probably just me being nitpicky, and that's fine, but I don't know. I guess I expected a lot more from this, because it's such a great series, and it is a very detailed series that just aspects of it being not there that I wanted it to be kind of just diminished it a little bit. So
Yeah.
it could just be that. Like, again, overall, I would still recommend it. It's a great story. So, but yeah, that one to me, like, just under the mark. I would probably put it at like 3 or 4 on my list, because I've only watched about 6. No, I'd put it at 4. So, but yeah, Tyler, what was your number 4 then? Since you said this was in your top 3.
Ugh. That's so hard for me. Actually, no, it's not hard. And I know people are going to be mad, because this is technically the bottom of my list. I'll say 5, because I've read through the other series that I'm on episode 10 of. So I'm just going to say I've watched all of it. So I'll say I've watched 5, but this is still my 5th, and it's got to be the new season of Demon Slayer.
Interesting.
I didn't think it was that good. And
Sorry,
again,
I'm behind on Demon Slayer.
don't worry, you're not
watch an
missing too
episode.
much. You're not missing too much. They've fallen into the trap of like, if we just make it look pretty, no one will care about the story. And I think it's kind of worked.
That was season one's trick.
Yeah, no, and you're right. I mean, we've talked about season 1 so many
also
times.
Mugen Train's trick.
Yeah, that's a different story. But like, okay, in all truthfulness, though, season 1 was just a good season of anime. It wasn't great like many people told it to be, but it wasn't bad like other people say it is. It's just a very average season where the story is average, the characters are average, like the premise is average, the setting at least is cool because I don't know, I like the more like old school. I'm lacking in term. My brain's melted too. You've
Like
caused melt
feudal
brain.
era.
Yes, thank you. Feudal era of Japan. I think that's a really interesting time period because being in North America, we don't have anything like that. The oldest we have is 1776, and that ain't that old when you look at fucking. I went to a tea shop when I was in Japan that's 1,000 years old. I'm like, goddamn. Like, you just think about that stuff and I'm blown away. I like history too, so that's probably a piece of it. But like that aspect's cool. All right, but Demon Slayer as a whole first season was just okay. We're not talking about Mugen Train.
Colors and animation.
Yeah,
Colors
exactly.
And animation.
Ufotable.
Look at the pretty colors.
They've been doing what, the Fate series
you
for
need.
forever. Ufotable was
Yep.
Fate, so yeah, you knew it was going to be pretty at least, and the sound design was great. Mugen Train we're not going to talk about, but then Entertainment District was fantastic. It was exactly what we were hoping for, which is just stick to one location, focus on just the characters you have already, and one additional one, that's Tengen, and just do what you do best, which is fight scenes. Because the first season was like walking, fight, walking, fight, recovery, walking, fight, recovery, walking, like it was just that same formula with very like minimal things happening, and I was like bored. Season 2, incredible. Season 3 started off like it was gonna be season 2. I'm like, all right, here we go. We're in a new setting. We've got 2 new characters. We're actually getting rid of 2 other ones too. Spoiler alert, if you don't like Inosuke or Zenitsu, right?
Fuck
That's the other.
Zenitsu.
Yeah. If you don't like those
All my
2,
homies hate Zenitsu.
if you don't like those 2, you're unlocked. Season 3's got literally none of them. Except for
Then
the
maybe
first
I'll
episode.
actually love season 3.
I thought I was going to too. I'm like, great, we're focusing on other characters that are actually interesting. I like seeing more of the Hashira, and we're in a brand new setting with old characters that we also know about and can learn more about. Cool. But what did they do? Oh, they just did fucking flashbacks. So many flashback, middle of a battle, flashback. Then mind you, this is like the same character had multiple flashbacks. Like, I'm in danger, flashback. I got out of that danger. I'm about to go get the bad guy, flashback. All right, I'm at the bad guy. I'm fighting the flashback. I'm like, fuck you. Like, the fight with the demons in the Entertainment District was a long fight, but there were layers to it. Like, the fight kept evolving, and you didn't have to do this crutch of like, we have to fill in time in some way, let's just put in a flashback. They were actually able to like build it out well in season 2 and make it feel like you're truthfully like it's like a long ass fight that spans multiple episodes, but it's, you know, and it actually took that long in terms of like timeline because it all spanned like one singular night, right? Like they built that in. I mean, kind of, but it didn't feel like, it wasn't like I'm charging up next time on Demon Slayer Entertainment District. It was like, okay, we've beaten the demon, but oh shit, there's not just one demon, there's 2. And then it's like, okay.
That seems like their
fucking
formula from season 1 too. Like, oh wait, it wasn't just one demon, it was another demon. Oh look, it's an even powerful demon. Even Mugen Train. Oh no, this demon's been killed. Oh wait, there's an even more powerful demon.
But at least
Who's just waiting in the forest for no fucking reason, and we won't explain it later.
Yeah,
Anyways,
but at least in season 2 they built upon like more of the demons, which is like if they're bonded or something, or if they're related, you have to decapitate them both at the same time. Like there were small things. But again, had plenty of critiques about Entertainment District 2. Not saying that it's perfect in any way. But season 3 like ruined that whole thing by being like, okay, well, we have these fights and they're going to be effectively the entirety of the season. The entirety of the season was like just fighting, which is great. But they like kept pushing in flashbacks of shit that I did not fucking care about, and they didn't make me care about it either. Like,
yeah.
At no
There's
point...
a difference between where you care about a character and where they're coming from than just like, hey, here's character, here, care about them, care about them.
If they started it off, because this season had, I don't remember their names, so I just go off of it's the Mist Hashira and the like Laffy Taffy sword Hashira. Her sword is all like rubbery. It's really
Is it
cool.
the booby girl?
Yeah, the cotton
The
candy.
fan service girl.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. The one female Hashira, we can
The
just
pink
say.
and green or pink and yellow green, whatever.
Yes, she's the only female Hashira. Let's just stick with that.
Yeah, that works.
And I'm like, okay, cool. Like we're gonna learn a little bit more about them. And we did, but it was all like forced down your throat. It wasn't like a natural thing of like oh, you know, how did you get in this predicament? Or how, like what made you come to the sword village in the first place? It was just like hey, we're here. Oh god, demons. Guess we gotta fight. Flashback into my childhood of why I'm so battered. And then it was like, oh, I got out of that situation. Here I go. Flashback to when I first became a Hashira. And I'm like, God, make it stop. Like episodes ended mid flashback. And I'm like, fucking hell. Please.
horrible. No, that's
It was like
stretching it.
mid to
That's like-
end flashback. And I'm like, cool. So we didn't wrap up the fight. We're just going to end it kind of here. Awesome. So,
because
yeah.
Hell Paradise kind of used the same formula, but they at least concised it with one episode each. Though, like,
yeah,
at least
which
I'm happy about that.
which is fine. Like that's what you should do in a first season. I don't mind that in a first season. I would like to know more about the characters that I'm eventually going to care about down the road, or you know, if you're Hell's Paradise, the characters that may or may not get turned into flowers the very next fucking scene. Who knows? But with Demon Slayer, they keep doing this flip of like our focus is fighting to our focus is story fighting to like just being like we got to fill time, man. I don't know. Like just here's another backstory. I'm like, oh god, it didn't feel good, and I got really bored at times, honestly, watching it. And I hate being bored watching Demon Slayer because it is really pretty to look at, and I am starting to like it more and more as I watch it, especially, like I said, Entertainment District was fantastic. But like season 3 has brought me back down to the same levels of season 1 of like, let's just hope the next one's better because this one was really bad.
It also sounds like they're using the formula of, all right, we need more money out of this. We need to stretch this more. Each arc per season, make more money out of this.
I would say that most often, but I believe there's only like 2 arcs left. So there's only going to be 2 more seasons.
Yeah, there is only 2 arcs. I'm sure
I thought there was a lot more than I thought there were a couple more than that.
No, the creator really rushed the ending according to people who have read it.
Yeah, and I'm not going to get into spoilers in it too because there is a really, really, really big important piece at the end of season 3 that is effectively going to drive the next. Well, it's going to drive the full ending. Like this is how the entirety of Demon Slayer is going to end, is from this one moment at the end of season 3, excuse me. So that part also, I had a similar feeling of like when Reiner and that other dickhead are just like, well, Reiner's just like, I'm a Titan, lol, and Aaron's like, ha ha ha, you're joking. He's like, no, for real, I am. Watch this shit. And you're like, what the fuck? Why did he just do that? What the literal shit is happening?
I had to follow your pivot there. I was
sorry,
very
Attack on Titan reference.
Yeah.
It was the same thing of like, why are they putting it here? It makes no sense because there's no explanation behind it. It's just like it happened and you have to deal with it. Sorry. So
womp womp.
Yeah.
Anyways.
All
right. Well, that was the bottom of your list, Sam. Give us a couple. Give us a couple quick hits. What were kind of some of the downer shows or bottom of the barrel shows for you this season?
It was like ranking of the kings, the treasure chest of courage thing.
Oh
like
fuck!
literally,
I couldn't even get through that.
It was just literally side story after side story, and it's literally the last episode is the only technically canon story that's connected to the next season, so to speak. And now
not
there's a
next
movie
season.
coming.
Yeah, movie is what it's going to continue on, which that made me fucking furious when I saw that come out. That was and Ranking of Kings was one of my like favorite anime from. It was a 2-course, so whatever season it first started off in. Like it was wonderful. And then when I saw this, I was like, oh, we're getting a continuation. Nope. Just, hey, what if we had fillers? Here they are, and it's an entire season of it. You're like, God, what a cock tease.
Yeah, it's like just a small number were good episodes, but the rest of it was just boring side story that was not necessary. I think most of the characters that's already from the main season, the first season, all together already helps sums up the character of who they are, why they are this person in the same place, and they have their own character redemptions in a way, and they worked out great. I didn't need the side story. I didn't need to know their pasts. I don't need to know how they got where they are before even the season starts. Didn't work for me. Another thing that was down the list was Over the Moon for You season 2.
Interesting, because I thought you were pretty high on that one. Like you were excited.
I did
for
like
that.
the series. It's like a slice of life cute story.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's just the whole shut your brain, enjoy the happiness of a cute couple. Like it's just very wholesome anime where like I don't think a lot of people will be fully on interested or as would keep watching concentration.
Yeah.
Because it's just a wholesome marriage story, and you just have couples doing some comedic stuff, and then you learn a little bit more of who the girl is. But the opening is actually really misleading throughout the entire season.
Oh no.
I mean, can't be as misleading as Jujutsu Kaisen, but
It actually is. It never even touched whatever is going on in the opening.
oh, all right, well,
It doesn't
interesting.
touch what goes on in the opening. Actually,
Well, to be fair, that honestly might be a good thing because usually anime intros like just completely spoil what's gonna happen that season, let
It's
alone
true.
for most of it. So like, I feel like I would actually welcome that change.
I mean, can a slice of life ruin it? Every slice of life intro I see is all just bubbly randomness that's happening.
There was like action scenes in that opening.
Well, never mind.
And there's no action. There's no action.
scenes.
There's no action in season 2. No.
Oh my god, that's
I was waiting for that. Like, hey, when we get to the past story already? Like, nope. Next season is technically the 4 episodes of Nasa in school being a teacher. Like, I don't care about him right now. I want the past story.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's why like it's didn't really into my top list. Next one was like Mashal.
Yeah, this is also at near the bottom of my list as well.
It's not that I don't enjoy the anime and I do read the series. It's just comedy. It's just hilarious comedy where muscles beats magic. Okay, cool.
Yeah. I think for Mashal, for me, the reason why it was kind of lower on my list is like, again, it was kind of another weird, uncanny valley of like the character designs look just a slight different from what they should be, and some of the action was good and some of the action was not so good, and just it replays the same joke over and over and over again, and it's only so many times you can replay the same joke and it stay fresh. This one, it's like there were moments where it's like, here it goes again. But then there were other moments like, okay, they made it fresh. So, but it just was very inconsistent in staying fresh with its comedy because it is, oh, he loves cream puffs. He's got a cream puff. He pulled a cream puff out of nowhere. Like they had a scene where he was in like potions class or like herbology or cooking or something. And every time he did anything and he even followed step by step, it would just end up as a cream puff. And even the people around him were like, how the fuck does this happen? What is going on here? So like there are some times where like the jokes were just like, okay, this is a bit played out. And then there are other times that are just like, okay, new character was introduced. Oh, they don't realize that Mashal's fucking yoked out of his goddamn brain. Okay, like seeing their reactions and their different facial expressions, that's funny. But you can only, hold a show over for so long for that. I don't know. That's my opinion as to why it was kind of at the bottom of the barrel for me.
It's gonna be a rinse and repeat throughout the entire time, and they're gonna give it its couple seasons because it is a shonen manga, shonen anime. They have to give it to it.
Yeah, and I think the series as a whole is coming to an end rather quickly. Like I think if I'm not mistaken, the climax just happened in the manga.
Yes,
like
it is.
for the very end. So like the series is gonna end here soon. So I'm wondering if it's actually gonna get a full run of the like the anime will like have a full run of the manga here shortly, so it'll be interesting to see. So, I will say the next and probably last one that I put at the bottom of my barrel was A Galaxy Next Door. This one I was a little excited for because I read the source material and it's just happy-go-lucky fun, and it's just like it's low drama, feels good. You're dealing with adults, and it's a good story. It's a fun story. It's again, turn your brain off. You kind of expect to see what like when like when the first twist happens of like this is the setup for the show. It's like after that it's like okay, this is all very predictable, etc etc. It's good fluff is what it is, but it's not the best fluff out there. The best fluff is yet to come in this episode because there's 2 shows out there that were the best fluff.
Oh my
Tyler,
stars!
you're giving me some oh yeah, exactly. Oh my stars and garters type vibes right now. But yeah, with that, top shows of the season, just to round us out, because we've talked about the middle shows, we've talked about the bad shows. Let's talk about the good shows. For me, my number 3, and this goes just one spot above Hell's Paradise. And honestly, I thought this would be a number 4, 5, 6 show for me, but the adaptation was really fucking good, and that is Dead Mount Death Play. That adaptation was so much better than it like ever deserved to be. But then again, you think of like who create like it. God, I actually got to think of it because I know that they've done. Hold on one second. I should have been more prepared for this. But Dead Mount Death Play was created by.
Do 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 do
Baka Duck.
do
Yes,
do
please.
do.
I need that because I
Da, da,
fucking I
da,
had
da,
it here
da.
and then I didn't have it.
Oh my god!
Kill me now. I know.
Sorry, I don't have the Jeopardy sound.
Okay,
Should I?
sorry.
Okay.
It is so it's the same author as
Yeah.
Durarara and Baka&Co. So like it's
Oh.
got a good story.
Mhm.
And the character designs are pretty unique, and it's a little bit on the darker, like quote unquote, like edgy teenage side where you're like, oh, this is gonna be edgy. But then it throws a weird comedic charm to it that works in a weird fucking way. And the adaptation of this show has just been a delight week in week out, and I think it was great on all accords. It did, again, I thought that this was gonna be an okay show, an okay adaptation, because it is such a no-name show. Like nobody knew what this was coming into this season, I feel like, and for it to come out and do well, in my opinion, it yeah, it ranks number 3 in my book. Number 2 was, and I know Tyler, you've watched this one, My Love Story with Yamada-kun at level 999. You're giving me the eyes of like you're breaking my heart for not being number 1, but you're
No.
also like, yes, it's up there.
No, that was my happy
But-
face.
That's my I'm gonna kill you. But and maybe that is your happy face. Anyways, this show came out of nowhere. Legitimately, like this came out of nowhere, and it was so much better than it ever deserved to be. I thought this was going to be an isekai like romance show coming into the season, and it wasn't. It was so damn good. And I'm not great with words right now, so Tyler, expand upon it.
No, you give your 1. I want to give it the love and care it
Oh.
needs.
It's fine. My number 1 was Skip and Loafer.
Shocker.
100% it was Skip and Loafer.
Actual,
like, that show,
I mean, legit, that's a shocker for most people because it's a slice of life, but I knew it was going to be your number 1.
I know you knew because I've given it all the fucking flowers and roses it deserves because it is such a good feeling show. You watch episode 1, you're like, this show can do no wrong. It can, but like after episode 1, you're already invested. If you've watched episode 1, you're not enjoying the show, don't watch the rest of it. It's fine, just save your time, go watch something else. But to me, I watched episode 1 and it was just a giant boost of serotonin because of how genuine the characters were throughout that episode. The main character being from the boonies, having a plan of what they want to do with their life, and just stumbling along the way, but also getting up along the way, was something like, okay, I love this character. I am just like, this is somebody I want to follow. This is somebody that has the charisma that, makes me want to root for them. And that was just a common throughout the entire season for me, and it was just an absolute delight to watch. So much so that after episode 1, I did read what was completely out physically for the manga, including I think volume 7, which came out midway through the show. And I mean, knowing in the future what happens is great, but like even this adaptation, everything about this show was a delight to me week in and week out. It was the boost of serotonin I need on a Tuesday, like midweek, let alone just like throughout just your life. It's just a good boost of serotonin whenever you need it. So I feel like this is actually going to be a show, if it does get a dub, this is going to be a show I'll watch again and again because it is such a fun, happy-go-lucky show. So yeah, that's my number one of the season, Skip and Loafer.
Sam, what you
Tyler.
got? Oh, me or Sam?
No, we can go Sam and then you, and then we can close this out.
Sure. Technically, it wasn't in my top 3, but honorable mentions from within the middle of this was the Insomniacs After School. Love the background, really good. Story was good. It's interesting. Golden Kamuy, of course, is already just finished today. It's on its way to its final season in the anime. What caught me off guard that was good, and this was from the Disney Plus side that went into Hulu, was the Tengoku Daimakyo, Heavenly's Delusional. It's good.
That is something that I am gonna go back and watch because I hear nothing but phenomenal things about it.
Like so many questions, still so many questions. It's good.
I forgot one show.
Too late. Too late. Nope, you can't. Nope, too late. You can't even say it. Nope, you can't even say it. I know it's gonna drive you insane. That's why I'm forcing you to hold it in.
I hate
and
you.
then
Continue, Sam.
You're just gonna blur it out when I'm talking, so it's fine.
Of course, the new Gundam, the Mobile Suit Gundam, the Witch from Mercury, is in that list. And then within the top 3, Hell's Paradise was number 3 for me. Number 2 was Dr. Stone. I still liked it. Like, it's comedy, its concept, the science of it all. Like, it's one of the shonen anime manga where it's not really action based, but it's actually more about the smarts and the creativity of it all. It's inventions and everything. They build a good ship. Yeah, it's what I know. It's only had 11 episodes in their season, so that's new for me when it comes to a shonen anime too. And then I guess when it's other part of the season, we'll just have to wait. And then of course, number 1, Oshinoko.
Yep.
I knew you.
All
I
about
knew
it
you
because it was on High Dive.
I knew that was the one that you forgot. I was like, he hasn't said Oshinoko.
Yeah, I was like, wait, why is it not
7,
on
but
top?
I can't remember. Yeah, no, yeah, no, that's definitely my number 1, and it's like a close number 1. Number 2 is Skip and Loafer, because for me, Skip and Loafer also kind of like, it was like something that I had heard of and I'd never paid attention to, and then when it came out, it was like a fucking ball of hurricane. It was like a hurricane. My brain's fried.
Ball of lightning is what you meant to say.
I completely agree. Oshinoko, number 1. Like, I mean, outside of that first episode, which is amazing all in itself, the rest of the season, which we still have 1 episode left on Wednesday.
Yes.
The rest of the season was still so good because it's not just like, here's like a mystery novel that you have to figure out who done it, and it's like, we're gonna hunt this man down. It's more of like, also just, here's a deep, dark, bad look into what the Japanese entertainment industry actually is. And it's really sad because like, there are things that happened this season that I was not really aware of, that like, with the whole
it was controversial. Like a
yeah,
lot of
it was
people
controversial,
in Japan were not happy about that one particular episode, and it was too close to home when it came to that one episode and the entire incident and all that stuff like that. But that's real. Like,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's the dark side of entertainment in general. Like, not just with Japan entertainment. Like, what happens behind the show, the screen. There's a lot of dark and competitions, and there's also we're in the internet generation where internet bullying and cyberbullying is like the
So
most
wildly accessible.
It's But I think it's so relatable and it's so connecting to real, as well as animation style is just fantastic. It's beautiful. Damn.
Yeah, I 100% agree. I absolutely. I mean, I've been keeping up with the manga. I am caught up with the manga, but even outside of that knowledge, like this first season was just so damn good. From episode 1 till even this latest episode, it was just it's so good because it's not even just hey, here are a bunch of kids in the Japanese entertainment industry and here's the dark look into it, but it's also like a look into hey, these are the struggles that I face and here's how I've overcome them, and hey, like, this is how you can overcome your struggles too, and you're not alone, etc. type things. So it overall I feel like does have positive messages mixed in with all of the hey, we have a real fucking problem that we're just gonna just throw out there through pretty colors. So it was a good mix between serious, um, negative serious, and negative and positive serious, and it's such a weird way to balance that you would either lean one way or the other, and for them to find a happy mix to pull it off is astounding. So completely agree with you, Sam. I don't know if there's anything else you want to touch upon for the show because it is a great show.
I think the music was also a good match to it too, and like because of that anime alone, there is actually a real live action the beat Kamochi dance thing for a whole entire hour on YouTube.
God dang. Oh,
Yeah,
boy.
yeah. I'll share it to you guys in the Discord later. But yeah, that's my list.
Fair enough. Tyler?
Honorable mention for me is Kubo-san Won't Let Me Be Invisible. That was one that came out last season, but there was delays, I think, due to a COVID outbreak in the animation studios, so it was pushed back to this season. But that one's fantastic. I love the source material for it too. It's just really cute, wholesome. I like the weird niche to it, which is the main character is quite literally invisible. Like that piece is hilarious to me, and they kind of go into like how certain people can see him and like when his powers like they go in depth into his powers, into invisibility. It's wonderful. But that one always makes me just kind of smile and chuckle because it's really cute. Third is Hell's Paradise, which I think we've all talked about enough to begin with. So my top two are The Dangers in My Heart and Yamada-kun.
Oh, okay.
And what?
Yamada-kun at level 999, whatever.
Yeah.
The Dangers in My Heart surprised me so much from what I had seen in like the trailer, because this is one that I've been reading and I've been high on since I started reading it, because it's one of those slice of lifes again in a similar vein to Kubo that has a really weird shtick about it, and you don't think it would land or operate well, or it might get stale, but it just gets better and better and better, and it's just so enjoyable to watch. Like I remember picking up the manga and reading it, and the first page is basically like the main character talking about how he wants to kill everyone in class. And it's like, you're like, Jesus, this is not the best way to start off a slice of life, but okay. And you get deeper into Ichikawa and how he's like the dark, edgy kid that no one understands, can't get along with. And he has this vendetta against the most popular girl. Funny enough, her name is Yamada, in school. And he just can't wait to murder her. He wants her dead. He wants her... Well, okay, maybe I kind of like her, but I still want her to die. Like, she's bad, but like... she is pretty. And then like Grinch moment happens where he's like, my heart, it's
Does
growing.
pretty always wins?
Yeah.
Does beauty always win?
But it's not a beauty, because they even go into that with like how other characters only see her as like the really popular, beautiful, curvy girl that's at school, and they just like her for her looks. And he, like, a lot of the anime is like inner monologue of Ichikawa being like, she's more than that. Like, she's so much more than that. And he's like, God, why do I care about her? And then he's like, fuck, feelings. emotions. I can't do this. But it's great. Like every episode has a really cool title to it. They're all titled like Carte and then one, and it's like a really short blurb, like I something something. Like I think it's always 3 letters too.
If you want
And
to look it up, I can talk upon the show
yeah,
as well because I watched the first 2 episodes.
oh, well,
And
I've
yeah,
watched
to your
10.
point, oh, look at you. No, to your point, I did like the 2 episodes I watched. I just didn't have time to continue and keep up with it. But I do like the fact that from clips that I've also seen just on the internet, in respect to like, hey, it's not just about her looks. It's about her just also loving to hound down on some fucking chips.
Oh yeah,
Like she just loves to eat.
she loves snacks.
She loves her snacks. But I think the one thing that I took away from this is that it doesn't matter who you like either. Like in episode 2, I think it was either 1 or 2 because I only watched 1 or 2. One of the like there was like a guy click of just like, oh, I like this girl. Oh, I like this girl.
Yeah.
And then they're like, what type of girl do you like? Insert nameless person here. He's like, oh, I like them big. And they're like, what?
Oh yeah.
And they're like, yeah, I like the bigger girls. And then like they have a moment in the library where it is one of the bigger girls who is like, you know, a nice person and everything else, but probably wouldn't be picked on, or would probably be picked on a little bit by the other students because fucking middle schoolers are malicious. And this kid, were they in middle school or high school?
I think they're high school.
Oh, regardless, kids are malicious. And this guy comes up to her and is just like, I like you. And she's like, good joke. He's like, no, I do. You're really awesome. I like you. And it's just like the people you fucking like. Just like them. Don't give a shit what other people like. Just like what you like.
There's a great scene later where he overhears Hara, who's the girl you're referring to, say like, oh, I have to go on a diet. And he's like, no, you fucking don't. And he's like, I mean, you should like you for you. Yeah, they're all kind of chads. But the beauty of this show is this anime is that it really explores this whole notion of like, how do you develop feelings for someone that you have this preconceived notion of being like the most opposite of you entirely? Like you are edgy teen who wants nothing but death and despair to rain down upon all of your classmates and the entire world, to have a girl who is the center of attention, is always just picked at the top of everyone's list for everything, to finally like notice you. Like, how could that ever happen? And then you get noticed and you're like, okay, well, she wouldn't talk to me again. And then she talks to you. And then you're like, well, this can't happen constantly, right? No, it happens daily. And then you start actually hanging out. And then you start talking more, not at school. And it's like just this continuous evolution, and you start questioning more and more of like, how has this happened? Why is it this? You create all these different scenarios in your head, but you never know what's going on in her head. Like, it's one of the few slice of lives too where like the main character is driving the entirety of the anime, because you never hear what's going on in anyone else's brains. It's only his. Like even in Kubo-san, you hear the main character, Bart, I don't even remember his name. He's that invisible. Like, you hear his inner monologue, but then you also hear like Kubo's too, like Kubo-san's. So you kind of get this whole like, oh my gosh, they like each other. Why wouldn't they just admit it? Oh, it's so frustrating. But
that trope,
the dangers in my heart, it's like, you don't know. Like, there's all these subtle hints. Like, you're viewing everything exclusively through the main character's eyes. You don't ever get inside Yamada's brain. Like, you don't know what her feelings are. You just see it through her actions and their interactions. So you're like, you start second guessing. You're like, is she teasing? Like, is this on purpose? Like I don't know either. And that's the same thing that the Ichikawa's feeling. So it's so wonderfully done. The manga is great too. It's such a fun read, and it's a really slow roll too, which I appreciate in this one, because I think it takes time to develop this like relationship between these two characters that you don't want it to be a situation in which you're like, yeah, they finally said it and they finally admitted it and it's gonna happen. Woo! that would
No,
feel
that's gonna end the story. Yeah.
right. Exactly. You want it to be like long. You want it to drag out because you want to see how they start to develop more and more, and you want to see them put into different situations. Like, what if a friend says, "Hey, do you like this person?" Like, how are they going to actually interact? Like, are they going to fuck it up by saying, "No, I can't stand them," or like, "Ew, that dude, like, gross." Like, who knows? So it's so great. I thought the first season was exceptional. Again, I'm still, I think, 2 episodes left, but I've read through, I think there's 5 volumes out right now. And it's all fantastic. So that's my number 2.
I've got 2 things if you let me before your number 1.
Yes.
It is middle school. They are in middle school.
Okay.
Number 2, Junta Shiraishi
Junta.
is the guy in Kubo.
Shirashi.
The invisible. Shiraishi, yeah.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
There's
Appreciate it. And
there's a lot of vowels in there.
Junta Shiraishi is from Kubo-san. Yes. Thank you.
He is the
Thank
invisible.
you, Wikipedia Frank.
And you're number 1.
Yamada-kun at level 999. You guys are going to laugh. I don't care. This is the first slice of life where I legit like clapped and cheered. And I was like, fuck yeah, he did it. It happened. Woo! He did the thing. Like,
I don't know if
I
you
was
peaked on
so
your side.
I
on
did, but it's
Discord or
fine.
OBS, but we
I got it
barely
through.
got
You
any
definitely
of that.
peaked.
Yeah, I got
you
it through.
peaked
It
on that.
happened. It's fine. But like, I was so ecstatic. Oh God, what a good. This is what MMO Junkie should have been.
Yes.
This is what
100%.
like any rom-com slice of life anime that's centered around video gaming or whatever. This is now the like staple of what they should use as like their base. Because it was the perfect meld of online gaming and real life stuff,
Drama?
basically. Yeah, drama. It was so fucking good from start to finish. Like, I have never... It was also one of the few ones where I just didn't know what was going to happen next. Like, in a lot of slice of lives, too, you kind of can see where things are going and you can kind of predict. But this one was... It was very loosey-goosey with it. Like, you couldn't really tell, like, what was going to happen next. Like, sure, there were a few characters that came in to play, and you're like, you're going to fit this role, or you're going to be this staple character, tropey character. Cool. Like, great. It adds to the story. But in terms of the actual story itself and how it all unraveled, it was really unpredictable to see what was going to happen next. And that's why I loved it so much. Because the ending of it could have ended so many different ways. Like, there were so much potential for it to like not go how people probably wanted it to. And I'm sure this was one of those few slice of lives where people are like, no, you did the wrong thing, or no, it should have been me. But meanwhile, I'm like, yay, he fucking said it. I don't think there's been many slice of life anime out there where, spoiler alert, FYI, where you had a definitive I like you and a reciprocation of it said in the first fucking season.
Yeah.
Like, that shit blew my mind, and I threw a party after I watched that episode. I was so happy. I was like,
Horimiya didn't do
yay!
that?
Huh?
Horimiya didn't do that?
There are some out there,
Yeah.
which yes, Horimiya did, Tonikawa did,
Yeah.
and I think Wodokoi as well. But like,
Yeah.
again, there are some, but the majority, you are right, Tyler, in which
Yeah.
like they
You're
don't.
like- you're-
It's like
you're
that is like
fucking-
the last season.
You're fucking begging them to just like hold hands. You're like, just fucking just grab their hand,
How
squeeze
many
it
times
tight.
does he need to carry you
Yeah.
home in order for you to fucking
God
say I like you?
Damn it. Yeah. You drunk whore. Kidding. She's wonderful. I love her. I love Akane. But no, I like the whole.
How many times do we have to teach you this lesson, old man?
There you go. Except she's not old. She's a cut. Well, no, I guess she's the older one. Yamada's the younger one.
She's
But like
20, 21.
yeah,
No.
she's in college. But this slice of life was incredible. This is one where, similar to what you did for Skip and Loafer, my wife and I watched the first episode, and she just went, I'm not going to watch it anymore. And I'm like, oh, And she's like, I'm just gonna read it. And I'm like, oh.
Oh,
And she read it all in 3 days. I showed her manga decks, which not a sponsor, but if you want to read a manga that have not been translated or brought over to the North America, you can go read on Manga Decks, which is a free website where all the freelance translators go. That's where I read all of Steel Ball Run. If you're a JoJo's fan, so go use their website. It's Manga Decks. They're great. But she read all of Yamada-kun in like 3 days, and she's like, worth it. That was incredible. And I'm like, you know what? Yeah, first episode was honestly insanely good. I'm going to keep watching it. And it got better and better and better. Shockingly. I didn't think it was possible, but it did. So yeah, no, that is definitively my number one. And I would posture to say that the spring season, and I don't care what the farts anyone else says, spring season was the season of slice of life. And you can fight me on top of a hill. I don't care. You Demon Slayer, Hell's Paradise, Vinland Saga. No one wants to fight me? Okay.
I mean,
No.
like, yes and no. There were a good amount of action shows out there, but I feel like we, other than the one, Sam, that you talked about that's on Disney Plus Hulu, which I have yet to watch, Heavenly Delusion or whatnot, we didn't really talk about other action shows because none of us watched Vinland Saga to my knowledge.
No.
I have not.
I'm waiting for all of season 2 to be out so I can binge it because I did that to season
It's not
1.
done? I think it's done.
It's a 2-core.
Netflix.
Yeah, it's a 2-core. I don't know if it's done yet or not, but regardless, I was waiting for it to be done in order to start it because I watched core 1 or season 1 like in 2-3 days, and it was something that I was like, yeah, if I had to wait week to week, I'd just hate myself because it was so good. But another show that none of us really touched upon, I know I had started it, watched maybe the first 3 episodes, technically action, but is mostly comedy, Konosuba. None of us really touched upon that.
I watched
no
the
word
first
about Konosuba.
Yeah, I watched
Like,
the first 2
it's quiet.
episodes and it was fun. It's not an action. I mean, I guess
There's some action to it. It's not
yeah, but that's like
primarily,
calling Miss Kobayashi an action.
though.
There's like the random
Oh.
fight scene and it's not that actiony.
It's sounding too much like the Ranking of the King's side story now too. Like there wasn't much action anyway. It was just slice of life story and stuff. But
I mean, in
side
truthfulness though, like
characters.
Konosuba, I wouldn't even it's an isekai, but I wouldn't classify it as like action. Action seems like a sub
Fantasy.
yeah, but it's
Yeah,
like
I
a
guess.
sub category. Most of it is drawn in from the humor aspect, and really realistically, that's the main driver of that anime.
Yeah,
The humor alone is
back-
great, but yeah, I mean,
back-
yeah.
Go for it.
Well, I was just gonna say, I just out of all of the categories that we've talked about and all the different anime that we've talked about, I honestly believe, and again, I know I'm biased because I enjoy me a slice of life. I honestly believe that the slice of life, like anime from this season, really carried a lot of it. Not only the ones that people had predicted were going to be good, but the ones that surprised people the most, like Skip and Loafer, and for a good majority of people, Yamada-kun. Like for me, I was excited for The Dangers in My Heart. I didn't think it was going to be as good as it was, but it blew me out of the water seeing it actually animated. Kubo-san was great. Like this, there was plenty of good action. There was plenty of good comedy, whatever you want to, all the other genres out there. But I think in comparison, the stronger ones were the slice of life. Like hands down.
I would agree because like looking at the list of shows that aired this past season, it's a good 50-50 mix between slice of life or action. And I think that the quality of the slice of life shows were a lot better than the action shows this season. There are maybe like a handful of like, yes, you can make an argument for this or that show, but overall quality over quantity is definitely in play here.
But don't worry,
But-
next season you got JJK, Mushoku
I was about to
Tensei, and
say-
plenty of and Bleach. Holy shit, we got Bleach coming
Yeah.
back. Woo!
You got JJK, Bleach, you have Mushoku Tensei, you've got fucking what's it called? Zom 100 Bungo Stray. Or
If you
Bungo
want to
Stray
hear
Dogs.
more of our opinions on it, go listen to last week's episode.
Yes, but speaking of last week's episode, Sam, since we did not have you here last week when we talked about summer 2023, what are you most excited to watch next season? Give us your top 1 to 3 shows.
I mean, like, of course, I'm gonna watch the JJK, the Mushoku Tensei, and all that stuff like that, because it's a continuation of the series. If you haven't watched it before, you could watch the continuation from that. Anything new stuff that I would watch was the Zom 100, because that looked interesting. I definitely want to pick that up. Especially, I mean, I'm still connected with a lot of slice of life stuff too. I want to watch that anime with the giant cat.
Oh my god!
like a
Yeah.
house-
I told you
giant
somebody
cat.
wanted to watch it out there, Tyler, and
I
you were
wanna
like,
watch it.
no.
You anthropomorphic loving people.
Fuck
Hey,
you.
I love pets.
The masterful cat is depressed again today. That's what it is.
That sounds like me right now.
Oh, for crying out loud. Oh, we were almost done. We were so close to wrapping it up,
Got you,
and
Tyler.
everything just went.
No, I'll wrap this up once Sam is done.
I mean, like, there's a good couple of categories. I was gonna also watch the Coworker
Yeah.
anime too.
Like Short Senpai or something like that.
Yeah. And then and then every season has their own shares of isekai season. I'm kind of glad that isekai season for this season wasn't good. Like, didn't really overshadow nothing.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't really overpopulate it. It knew it wasn't welcome, which was gone fine. But when it comes to the reverse harem kind of isekai, like those Otomo games kind of isekai, I am interested in watching, and I think there is one that's coming out next season. It's always like the I got isekai to an Otomo game. I got reincarnated as the villainous. But then I don't want to be the villainous thing, and I just want to be like my own thing, or be like the main character kind of thing.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Summer's gonna be strong. Summer's gonna
be a very strong contender for like season of the year, and it probably will be in all honest opinion, unless because they really haven't announced, I feel like, too many for fall 2023. Like, there's going to be a handful of things, but it's either continuations from summer or spring.
I'm
but
good.
that's a conversation for another time. Thank you all for joining us this week. We may or may not be back next week, depending on if we have time, because we have a packed schedule for the holiday next week. So yes, we may or may not be back. We will let you know. But until next time, Spark Triumph. We'll see you then.